What's up, you guys? It's Tabetha McNeal, and you're watching The Next Up, an actor's journey to success. Today's special guest, we have Evan Carrington, my homie. So how are you today, Evan?
Doing pretty good, can't complain. It's hot, so I'm happy I'm inside. So
Yeah. So tell us about yourself, Evan. I'm pretty sure you are stacked right now.
yeah. Stacked as I can be in the pandemic, when you're trying to look for acting gigs.
Yeah.
Doing pretty good, can't complain. So been at this for a little while now, just the whole acting thing. But yeah, I'm really loving where I'm at right now, working on different projects, getting a few projects done.
Wow.
So I act, write, and produce. So I usually try to create my own content as much as possible in seasons like this where there's not really like a lot happening, like production wise. Stuff is starting to ramp up a little bit. Now I'm pretty sure we're all submitting for it.
Oh, yeah. But, you saw the monologue competitions? I was like, yeah, let me go sign up for all of them. But yeah, continue.
Now they're great opportunities just to like sharpen your skills and everything. So I mean, personally for me, like I used to hate monologues. Like I was just kind of like, bro, that's another thing to remember. But honestly, it's a good tool to have in your tool belt because if you can sharpen like monologues, even practicing like improvising monologues. Like I've practiced doing that too, just to get myself in different headspaces for different characters. Like if I have an audition, if it's like for a specific time period or a type of character, I usually try to get myself in the headspace for that character by improvising what I feel like he would be like given the context of that time or situation. So
that's awesome. That's awesome. So one of my first questions is how do you what made you be an actor? When did that bug kind of hit you?
Man, shoot. So I was a senior in college. I went to Regent University, right up the road, Virginia Beach. I took an improv class. It was an elective, and I was just like, I got to fill out my schedule. Got to get these credits so I can dip. Finally graduate. I don't want to use all that money for nothing. So took an elective. It was an improv class. It was taught by Professor Marianne Sabel at the time. Really talented, Second City trained improv theater actress or actor because it's gender neutral. But yeah, she taught that class with just so much gusto and just with so much inspiration. It made me feel like I could actually go out and do this for real, like as a career, even just it gave me the motivation to kind of dip my foot in this and say, you know what, I can see myself doing this more. Just with how she taught the class and how everything flowed. And it was very just relaxing for me because I would come from like either like other classes or from working and do improv. And it would just be so cathartic.
Yeah, I mean, you can truly just be yourself doing improv and people will laugh at you and it gives you kind of this feeling about yourself that like you are so worthy. Like it's such an interesting feeling. Like I'll be coming home from work, like you were saying, and being like, man, I can't wait till I get in my improv class. These people care. So yeah. My next question is, let's see. Talk about your business degree. I think that is so interesting for an actor to have a business degree, and how does that translate over to working in the industry as an actor?
Having a business degree is definitely helpful. It gives you a chance to be able to really just know how to market and brand yourself. It gives you an idea about how to manage your funds, how to manage your resources, and being able to budget and allocate properly. Say, for example, if you're like a working actor, obviously, like you need to budget for how you're going to survive, month to month as you look for different opportunities, or even looking for other potential streams of income, or even if you go into the production side of things also, or the management, or talking to talent agents, it helps you to be able to really know your worth to a degree because you know aspects of like figures and numbers, and even just managing yourself as well. Because as an actor, you are your business to a degree. So you have to be able to know how to market yourself, how to market your business. You have to be able to be your own accountant. You also have to be your own manager as well. So you need to get those three main components right as an actor, and having a business degree is good because you can take the skills, translate it, and meant towards running like a company and apply them towards essentially running yourself in this industry.
Wow, you guys hear that? Sponsor him. Come on.
No, guy makes sure I use his degree somehow.
Yeah. So are you offering business strategies for actors right now? I mean, yeah, I feel like people will be very interested in that.
Honestly, that was off the cuff, but it's true. Honestly. Yeah. So it's true. Like those are all skills that actors definitely need to have in their tool belt.
Right.
Because again, you can't necessarily go into an audition situation is very much an interview and it's very much a negotiating part of the process. Because it's as much an interview for them interviewing you as you interviewing them. So it's important to go into that situation, just kind of taking on that situation, ask the right questions, ask even the uncomfortable questions sometimes about, okay, like, is this role paid, or how much is the pay? What are your plans with the film? Because you want to be involved in projects that are also worth the investment to a degree. Because as an actor, you're investing yourself emotionally, mentally, and spiritually, and physically also. So you're providing investment, and you want to make sure that you get a return on your investment. So if they don't necessarily have a plan for it, and they're just kind of like, oh, I don't know, or if it's just kind of something where other people aren't necessarily being able to see what you're bringing to the table in a way that kind of benefits you, that doesn't make you selfish, but it does make you strategic. You know, it gives you that desire to kind of like look at the business and say, okay, what projects can I be a part of that will help propel me further to get to where I need to go? So having that in the back of your mind is important. But it's also important, obviously, to take what you have and look to invest within the project, because you want to be able to be a part of something and give your all to something that you feel like has a good chance of succeeding also. So you don't want to half step. And also that comes in with the branding and the marketing also. So when you're involved in these projects, you have to give your all in the midst of them. You have to show up on time. You have to be thoughtful and courteous to everyone on set, because if you're not, they aren't going to bring you back.
Oh, they'll remember you. They'll be like, I don't want to work with that person anymore. They're crazy. Yeah.
And especially if you're in the, oh, my bad.
No, you're good. Go ahead.
I was going to say, especially if you're in like a small community, if you're in like a small pool, like this isn't like LA yet, obviously. So naturally, like all the filmmakers here, there's a good chance that most of them know each other. So you're probably in consideration for roles that you don't even know about. And you don't want to automatically like X yourself out of consideration because of how you carry yourself when you're on set.
Yeah. Oh, wow. That's all the gems right there, you guys. Speaking to your acting career, I just want to talk a little bit about Until the End and your astonishing role of Dr. King. I mean, how did you prepare for that role?
Whew, man. Wow. So Until the End was a passion project of mine. Ever since I was younger, like I wanted to portray Dr. Martin Luther King somehow. Like I knew, even if I wasn't an actor, like I knew that if I wanted to be an actor, that would be the point where I feel like I made it. You know, where I was able to portray Dr. King. And to prep for that role, I listened to hours of his speeches. Not necessarily just to get like the cadence and timing down of his words and the way he spoke, but to truly empathize with him also, so I can understand where he was coming from when he was in those moments speaking to people, ministering to people. I wanted to be able to get a feel for his personality also by him speaking. I listened to interviews that he did when he was just talking plainly, just so I can know how he was with people candidly to a degree, or at least as candid as you can get in an interview. But I wanted to get a feel for just how he was in those contexts, not just when he was giving these profound, monumental, iconic speeches, but also when he was giving interviews, when he wasn't required to exert himself in regards to elocution, when he was just talking plainly with other people. So I listened to hours of him speaking. The last speech that he gave, which is a speech that you would hear in the film, I listened to that speech probably about maybe almost 10 times. It's about 40 minutes long. Just because of the context of when he gave that speech, that was the last night of his life. So that was the day before he was assassinated. So obviously there was a lot of emotion there because you can kind of get a feel, even not even just watching it, but hearing it in his voice, that he felt like his time was almost up. Almost eulogizing himself to a degree.
Yeah.
So listening to it and getting a feel for that emotion, it felt very heavy, especially as it got towards the end. And he was also a man that was, at this point, he spent the better part of the last 15 years on the civil rights movement, pretty much having to be in situations where he was fearing for his life also, where there were threats. There was a bomb threat, actually, on the plane. There were reports of that, where there was a bomb threat on the plane that him and his fellow SCLC leaders took to Memphis. Right. And they had to clear the plane, search it, strip it, and then come back to let them know, hey, everything is good. You guys are cleared for takeoff. So, yeah, just looking into the context also, doing as much research as I could, independent research aside from just listening to the speeches also, or him speaking, just so I can get a feel for where he was emotionally, relationships that he had with people close to him at the time. It was a combination really of all those things to really prepare.
That is amazing. That is so awesome. And that's so interesting that you talk about how you prepared for this role. Because I think a lot of times as actors, we're just kind of like, all right, you're going to read the script, think about it for a couple of days, going in for the audition. But the fact that you prepared, you watched videos, you kind of noticed the things that he did. I mean, your voice was amazing. You sounded just like him. The mannerisms were just beautiful. It really gave me Selma vibes, and I was like, oh snap, you could have played him. You just a little bit older. Oh yeah. So I think that is so awesome. Next question. So what is your favorite genre in terms of movies?
You see, are in the context of playing them, or just like my favorite genre of movies in general?
Yeah, in playing them. Like if you could have any role right now in any genre, they called you tomorrow.
Tomorrow. I would love that phone call. I'm gonna tell you that right now.
Yeah.
I would say drama.
Okay.
Drama is probably my favorite genre, just because of the potential for showing your range. Because things, when you have scenes and dramas, they can really play out, and they can go to 10 really fast.
Yeah.
You have to be able to get there as much as possible in intensity, not just in regards to the words and the volume of your voice, but also in the facial emotions and the expressions and what you convey also with body language. There's a lot that you can work with drama. So I would say drama is definitely my favorite genre to act in for sure. I don't like doing a live drama back to back because it definitely weighs on you just emotionally as an actor.
Yeah.
I love having some comedy interspersed in there. Again, improv. I love improv, so I usually like doing as much comedy as possible. So yeah, the drama is definitely number one. Just not live. Also, historical. So like any kind of period piece. I love period pieces also. So if I'm able to go back into an era like, until the end, and able to kind of like tell a story from that time period, even from a different perspective, like I would love to do that. So I would say drama is number one, comedy is number two, and then just like biographical or period pieces is probably.
That's awesome. So if you could be on any show currently, what would that be?
Shoot. This is rough because I need to watch more TV. I would say anything kind of crime related. So Godfather of Harlem, because I love mafia movies. I love Forrest Whitaker. He's a great actor. So I would say Godfather of Harlem, just looking at that context.
Mm-hmm.
I've seen what I can potentially bring to the table. Maybe it's like an upstart gangster that maybe transitions from Bumpy Johnson to Frank Lucas or Nicky Barnes or whoever else is there in that era.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would say Godfather of Harlem is probably that. I love Luke Cage also. I know
Yeah.
Luke Cage is canceled, but when it was on the air, like I loved some Luke Cage. Like he's my
Yeah.
favorite superhero. So I would definitely love to be on that show in some capacity also. Like if it's still open, like Marvel, if you're watching, you have an avid Luke Cage fan. I have like 50 comic books of his. So yeah,
That
it
is so
happens.
funny. I feel like everybody wants to be on Marvel. Just
Yeah.
like put us in. I don't care. Just put me in the movie. My next question is, since you're super into film and TV and improv, what are some things, especially right now, that you want to see changed in the industry?
Whew. One thing that's kind of been on my heart now, especially, I would love to see more opportunities for people of color, particularly African Americans, to portray roles that aren't necessarily like either bit parts or stereotypical.
Yeah.
Because I feel like for a lot of Black actors, for us, we typically get cast in roles that are either bit parts or that tend to lead into a specific stereotype. Or if you want recognition, you only get recognition if you play like a certain type of character. Like for example, Denzel Washington, my favorite actor, by the way. Love Denzel Washington.
Yeah.
Yeah, but he portrayed Malcolm X in a phenomenal movie. I just watched it all the way through again recently, and I was blown away. But he lost that year's Oscar for Best Actor. Al Pacino had a worthy performance in his film, but even still, Malcolm X, come on, Malcolm X. So he lost for that.
That changed my life.
Yeah. Yeah, that movie right there, the chemistry, like that was such a well done film and such a commanding performance that will stand the test of time. So he loses for that, but he wins for Training Day, where he plays a crooked cop who also does drugs and deals drugs at the same time. So I'm just kind of like, so we're not going to give it to him when he portrays this powerful, commanding figure, but we're going to give it to him when he portrays a crooked figure who isn't necessarily a redeemable character. Yeah. So even just that, and also looking at Monsters Ball, also when Halle Berry won for Best Actress, just seeing like what she had to do to essentially get that role, and her being the first African American actress to win. I remember Angela Bassett gave an interview because she was up for the role, I believe, for Letitia Musgrove for Monsters Ball, and I believe, she turned it down. And I remember she did a separate interview years later, not about Monsters Ball, but just in general, about not allowing anyone to sell you off on celluloid, pretty much. So and I interpreted that as saying, okay, I need to be very careful about the roles that I pick and I select, because those are forever.
They are.
Those are forever. So people are going to see your stuff. Even if you didn't intend for anyone to see it, it's going to be on YouTube. It's going to be somewhere. If somebody shoots it, they'll release it eventually. And people are going to be able to go back to that. Yeah. So I want to be able to control the roles that I pick, and I want to be able to have a say in that to a degree. So I want to go out for like the drug dealer roles. I mean, if they're just a drug dealer, it's just going to be like, and I don't want to sound like someone.
Yeah,
right, I want to go for
substance.
something substance. Right, I want to go for substance personally for me. Like Sidney Poitier was the same way. Denzel Washington is the same way. So I'm just kind of like, if they can do that, I know I may not be like that particular, like at that status yet. But at the same time, if I want to, I can instill some of those principles now to help set me up for the future. If I'm aware of who I am and the type of actor that I want to be now, that will help prepare me for what I can get to in the future. But yeah, I just want to be able to have people who come after me I want them to see like these films and see something more uplifting as opposed to the narrative that other people try to push in front of their faces saying, hey, this is as far as you can go. I'm like, no, that's bullcrap. You're not going to limit me. I'm going to go to wherever God wants me to go in this industry.
Come on, sir, but yes.
My dad's a pastor, so stop me from getting like.
No, because I'm in that state right now. I'm just like, I know who I am, whose I am. So you can't tell me that I can't play this part. And I think it's so interesting, especially right now where things are kind of picking back up and actors are like, okay, I need to get booked. And it's like, well, what are you booking? You know, is it bringing you the joy or is it bringing you a check? Which is, I mean, we want checks. Yeah, we want checks, but it's kind of like, you know, when people are looking at your IMDb, so to speak, it's like, okay, they did this movie, but they're still playing this kind of stereotypical thing. And it's like, where is the substance of that? It's the same way, like, I love American Horror Story. Every character has some kind of substance to them. Yes, they're playing a murderer, but it's like, oh, but he has a story. You know, I want a story to be told through my acting career. So I resonate. That's awesome. So what has been the biggest advice you've gotten as an actor?
A lot of people say know the business, but also it's really in a lot of what you observe also. So I would say the biggest kind of inspiration for me that I've gotten, and I've gotten some pretty good things like said to me, and I thank God for all the people who have been older that I've seen in the industry, like doing different things. But the biggest kind of reality check that I received that inspired me was when I was at an audition. I felt pretty confident about getting the role. I didn't have lines with, I had my sides with me and I was kind of going over them. And this was like earlier when I started, but then I saw this other actor come in who usually gets parts pretty consistently. And he beat me for a few roles back in the day. And I remember seeing him come in. His script was marked up. He was going over everything. Like you can tell he took the time to audition more than I did.
Yeah.
And not comparing myself to him, but just kind of looking at that and being like, well, if I do this, like I really have to do this.
Yeah.
You know, I can't have stuff. I need to give my all, even in the auditioning process. I need to put forth more effort. So I would say taking the time to really invest in yourself, even in the auditioning process, is important. So I saw that and I was just kind of like, okay, like I'm not gonna come in with a script that's not marked up again because I need to do what I can to make sure I get these roles. Because if I don't get it, and if I know I didn't put in the effort, and the person that did put in the effort, whose fault is it that I didn't get the role?
Yeah.
It's not the directors. It's not theirs. I mean, they prepared. It's mine because I didn't take the time to put myself on a level playing field. And obviously, there are other factors that come into the auditioning process and selection, different things like that. But ultimately, if I can't tell myself that I put the effort in to get this role, then yeah, it's my fault.
That's awesome. You know, that brings me back to your purpose is also connected to someone else. So if we're not working hard, if we're not doing script analysis, if we aren't reading plays, if we are not doing monologues, it's kind of just like, not only does our dream die, but someone that is looking up to us, their dream dies as well. So love that. And since we're down to our last question, this is the most important question. Where do you see yourself in 5 years with all the many hats that you wear, from being a writer, a producer, an actor, an improviser, all of that? Where do you see yourself?
I want to work my way up to doing features, so I feel like I'll probably be in my second feature in about 5 years. I feel like at that point, like I'll probably have all of the projects that I've done up until this point will probably be available to the public for people to see. And I feel like at that point, like I'll probably have my production company like up and running off the ground, like doing my second feature. Probably look to like be finished with distribution for my first feature at that point. and I'll probably be well on my way for my second one, because I have a few ideas for some things that I'm going to be looking to kind of put in place over the next couple of years. But I would say that's definitely something. I feel like I would also be on some other sets, some other pretty big sets, probably in Atlanta, in LA, or wherever they're probably doing big sets. Hopefully even here in Richmond. Like, I hope that at that particular point, once they start having those projects, like, I will be able to be a part of those more consistently. Yeah. So I will be getting my own. I'll still probably be wearing many hats, but I will be doing so, and I'll be able to sustain myself solely by being in this industry. Like, I wouldn't have to have like another job in a different industry. Like, I will be fully committed to doing film at that particular point, working on my own projects, working on some pretty other big projects from independent companies, even like production studios also. Because Corona in 5 years, Lord willing, be a thing of the past.
Come on,
we don't have to worry about that anymore. But yeah, I feel like that's definitely where I'll be. Like, there are definitely some goals of mine that I really want to hit over the next couple of years, just from my own production standpoint, but also in where I want to be in this industry. Because predominantly, even though I act, produce, writer, whatever else I may do, acting is number one for me. That will always be my number one passion. Even if I'm writing projects or producing projects, I want to be able to also write and produce projects that I can get myself in, because I know what I'm capable of. And that goes again to the quality, to controlling what you're putting out also too. But I really want to be able to be a part of different projects that tell stories, that have a purpose. And I want to be able to work with really talented people, and continue to keep working with talented people, because I've been blessed to work with some really great people in the past and even up until this point. And I hope to continue to. Like, hopefully in 5 years, Denzel Washington's still in the game, and we'll make a movie together,
He gonna be in the game for years. Let's just say that. He not stopping anytime soon. And his son, such an amazing actor. It's just like, all right, adopt me too, please.
Yeah, adopt me too. I'll keep Carrington, because I love my last name.
Yeah, I'm gonna keep my last name, but I will
keep it Carrington Washington.
Yeah, exactly. So I think that's it, man. I think that's it. I just want to say thank you so much. Are you working on any projects right now that people can, audition for or check you out on?
Yeah, so Until the End's finished, you can check out Until the End short film on YouTube.